All right, so Liverpool have signed Jeremy Jacquet, which is obviously nice to see for the summer, but are we still missing some pieces, and are we going to see some more rebuilding in the summer? I think it's pretty guaranteed that that's going to happen, considering we've got Robertson, Van Dijk, Salah, and probably Alisson as well on the way out of the door in the next few years. They've all been absolutely fantastic players for the club, but nothing lasts forever, and we have got some rebuilding going on in the defensive line. Obviously, we've had some rebuilding going on in the forward line as well. But I think the main thing that Liverpool are actually missing right now is a DM. And that is something that I think is going to get addressed in the summer. Wharton, Elliot Anderson, these are the kinds of players that Liverpool, I think, desperately have been missing this season. Last season, because we were so imperious and we had such a high work rate front three in Luis Diaz and either Jota or Nunez, and obviously Salah as well, Gakpo was mostly off the bench. I think because we had such a high work rate front three last season, the need for the DM was really compensated largely by the defence of the whole team as a unit. And I think I saw that pretty obviously in plenty of games where the whole team defended really well together. But this season, when things have been a bit more difficult and you've got slightly more defensively lazy players in the team, Ekitike and Wirtz and Gakpo and Salah this season especially have all been not as good at tracking back and covering. We've been very open in the midfield part of the park quite a lot this season, and I think it's been a bit too much for Gravenberch and McAllister to cover by themselves. And I think a DM this season would have really changed the outcome of a lot of games for Liverpool. The amount of times where teams played through the middle of us very easily or on transition made it look like we had no midfield whatsoever was absolutely apparent to me. So many games the back four was heavily exposed, and obviously with the bad form of Konate this season, especially in the first, I would say, 10 games of the season, there were a lot of errors, individual errors by Konate. He was obviously left very exposed by the not enough screening in the midfield areas, and I think a player like Elliot Anderson or Wharton in the Liverpool team would have been absolutely fantastic, not only going forward and picking apart these low block teams that we seem to struggle with, but also in terms of defending as well, being a bit more solid, putting in good tackles, being positionally correct areas, being screened so that the back four don't have to work so hard. Obviously, we've had a lot of defensive upheaval, which has not helped us this season as well, with repeated injuries for Konate being out for a few games. Right back has been a continuous merry-go-round of Frimpong and Conor Bradley being injured. Szoboszlai's been playing there, Curtis Jones has played there, Gomez has played there. Obviously left back has been pretty much a rotation between Kirkers and Robertson, but neither of them have been absolutely incredible. Obviously Robertson's been solid, but he's still getting on a bit now, a bit slower and a bit less effective than he once was. Kirkers obviously was a bit frantic at the start of the season, but I think he's grown into things pretty well since then. Overall, Liverpool are a team in transition, and I think finally we need to get that Fabinho replacement that we've never had since, when did he leave? Was it 2020? 2021? Ever since Fabinho left, obviously we lost Milner, Henderson, Fabinho, Wijnaldum. We've never really replaced these players, in my opinion, for like players. Obviously, we've brought in some really good players. McAllister, Szoboszlai and Gravenberch last season were absolutely imperious and undroppable. But you just have to wonder, maybe Liverpool just need that fully defensive anchor in the outfit so that all the forward players can be released. And if you think about how we're playing now with this more diamondy midfield that's been working so well, we're a lot more defensively solid now in this formation in general. And we've been conceding so much less goals, so much less XG as well. Expected goals against us have been considerably lower. And we've also been creating much more goals over the past few games as well, which is obviously fantastic. You just have to think, what are the acquisitions that Liverpool really need? I think we do need a left winger, in my opinion. Someone who can challenge Gakpo for his spot, because Gakpo has been ineffective this season, in my opinion. Obviously, right winger wise, Chiesa's probably going to go, and Salah is going to go, if not this year, then next year, definitely. And if that's the case, then we're going to need two right wingers or two forwards who can play right wing and left wing potentially. Obviously, we've got Isak and Ekitike in the 9 positions. Wirtz is more of a 10, but he does play off that left-hand side, so you could consider him maybe a left winger. But he really has just been playing as one of the midfield 3, really. But in general, I think Liverpool are definitely on the up. But I'd be interested to see what kind of acquisitions that we make next, because we've clearly been building the defence again. Kirkes, Frimpong, Xhaka and Leone. That's four. That's a back four, basically, in the past 2 transfer windows of young talents. Frimpong's obviously more of a starter. Kirkes has been playing for Bournemouth, but Leone and Xhaka definitely more young players that are going to come through and replace Van Dijk and Konate over the next 2-3 years, most likely. Konate, we don't know if he's going to sign a new deal yet. He still hasn't signed, so we've still not negotiated a deal for him either. So there's a lot of transition and a lot that's up in the air with Liverpool at the minute. I think if we can get a DM, a left winger who could probably play right winger as well, and maybe another right back with Conor Bradley potentially on the way out because he's injured all the time, I think we'd probably be in pretty good shape. I think we've probably got enough attacking midfielders. I think Jones, Szoboszlai, Wirtz, McAllister is enough in terms of more attacking minded midfielders. But in terms of defensive minded midfielders, only really Gravenberch. We've got Endo as well, but obviously he doesn't get picked by slot very much at all. He's more of a backup player to shore up the game at the end of the game rather than a player that could start in that position. So interesting times ahead for Liverpool. Let me know your thoughts. Like and subscribe, leave a comment down below, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.